Rise and shine, YouTube. Today we are going to be talking about the Xlite Crazylight. Now, this was sent out from Pulsar for a review, and that's what we're going to do. So, coming in at 41 to 43 grams, depending on the skates you use, this mouse is the perfect weight for its shape. I'm just saying it has how it is, because in hand, it feels like a feather. You don't notice any of the weight, you don't notice anything, right? Comparing it to the same shape and the Xlite V4 Mini is much denser feeling in hand, and it's just for something this small. I would say 41 to 43 grams is the perfect kind of weight in general for this shape altogether. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't make it any lighter. I wouldn't make it any heavier. I think this is the perfect number. And yeah, like I said that with the X2 Crazy Light, this being around 36 grams also is like the perfect weight for this kind of mouse, right? Because more of it's going to be fingertip use, right? For a lot of people, and the lighter the weight for fingertip, the better, in my opinion. So let's talk about the shape. The shape being 115 millimeters long, 63 millimeters wide, and 40 millimeters tall. For somebody who has 16 by 9 hands like myself, this is, I'm going to say it, it's perfect. Now, I haven't been using the Quicks edition because I just can't stand the Ryse opticals in there. I just can't stand the clicks. They don't feel good. They feel actually cheap. So I've been using this for 3 days now. They sent them all out. People were getting them the 7th, reviewing them, just pulling them out of the box. But actually putting game time on it, I have about almost 20 hours of game time altogether already. Using this for work, browsing. Like, this is honestly the perfect Ergo. I don't notice the shape. I don't notice the size. It just disappears in my hand. And that's what you kind of want with your mice. So I grip this mouse kind of like this, still kind of like a relaxed claw, but I can still kind of bring it back into my hand. And my flicks have been pinpoint. My tracking has been good. When I tracking, I kind of go into more of like a palm grip, but I can change my grip on this claw, palm, do whatever I need to do, and I don't notice it. It just disappears, right? Because this forms to my hand. It's like a glove, it just fits perfectly. Now, if you have somebody who has about 118 millimeters long, I would choose the Feynman, right? The Feynman is taller, longer, and wider. So somebody who has 18 centimeter hands, I would go for the Feynman over the X-Lite Mini. But anybody who has smaller size hands than that, I would choose the X-Lite Crazylight because of how good it feels in my hand. Um, for wider hands, right? The Zywu Mini might feel better, but for my like width hands, the Zywu had that weird kind of width in the back that just kind of kept hitting me in the back of my thumb. That's why the X-Lite Crazylight comes out on top between the Ergos I've been using and testing, and in general over time. Like, this just feels so good in hand. And honestly, this is going to be in my top 5 mice video that is going to be releasing here in the next few months. So, shape-wise, amazing. I would say this is the best small Ergo for small hands. Just like I said, the Crazy X-Lite 2 Mini is still one of my favorite, if not the best, like, small mouse, symmetrical mouse for small hands. But the way this fits, the way it feels so natural, and I would put this over any other Ergo any other day. When it comes down to the clicks, right? I said I wasn't using the Quicks edition because of the Ratio opticals, and that's the God's honest truth. I can't stand these clicks. They feel cheap. They feel like crap. So I really do hope Pulsar just kind of removes them from their inventory. Don't bring them out. Don't use them ever again. If you're going to use an optical, just use the Pulsar opticals unless you're using it based on material wise and shape. So like the Feynman being a magnesium shape, using the Kel opticals being slightly like heavier than the Pulsar opticals, it meets the material of the mouse better than probably Pulsar opticals. And based on the Zywu using the Huano, based on Zywu's kind of feedback, these are extremely light, but that's what kind of Zywu likes in his mice for Counter Strike. But for everyday mice, go with the Pulsar opticals, please, because I think they're the best opticals on the market. They're nice, they're crispy, they give you good feedback in game. They, I mean, really don't have any pre travel or post travel. So, and then post travel, you can get into kind of go down a little more at the very end. You don't feel that in game. There's no grind, there's no click grind, there's no like, you don't feel any side to side wobble. They feel good, right? I've said it in the X2 Crazylight video. They're my favorite switches, and they continue to be my favorite switches all day long. Side buttons are nice. They're crisp. They feel good. They, I mean, not really too different from the. I don't even think they're different from the Xlite V4 Mini. So they feel damn good. No mushiness, but the size and the position on them feel very good. I don't have to worry about like, oh, I have to push my thumb all the way up. I have to push my thumb all the way in the back. No, these are in a perfect spot for small hands. When it comes to the scroll wheel is very, very smooth, right? You do feel each and every step. And I had no issues. I don't put my ring finger right next to the scroll wheel. But even if I did, I don't notice it moving or actuating, right? You have it kind of moving, but it's not actually actuating in the video. Now, if you did have your finger on the click, I wouldn't recommend it for any mouse because you're going to end up clicking or scrolling on accident. Just place your finger a little to the side or kind of have like a little curve, but that's all you gotta do. But shape, in my opinion, it's perfect for small hands. Weight, in my opinion, it's the perfect weight for its shape, right? 41 to 43 grams, easy. Let's talk about the coating. The coating is actually very, very good. I have had no issues with it getting like clammy or oily, um, slick or sticky. This coating feels fantastic. Now, the coating on the PRX though feels a lot better, right? It's a much more kind of like a cleaner coating, in my opinion, with the design and everything on it. But the coating on the Xlite Crazylight is still very, very good. We talked about shape, weight, coating. Talk about the skates. So they did change the skate design to have that fatter kind of back end. With the stock skates, I did like them on the glaze, right? I didn't really necessarily like them on the Blitz, the Molten Edge, because it had a slight tug to them. But that's normal with larger skates. The larger skate you use, more surface area of the skate. If you're pressing a little harder down on your pad, you're going to get tug. It's literally how it is. But on the glaze, the stock skates felt good, and their black skates feel very, very good as well. So I've used the black skates a long time ago. I didn't like them at first. All right, I didn't really find them to be good because they had a little bit of a tug to them. I don't know if it was just quality, but I feel like if it was, their quality has definitely gone up on these skates because they give you a little bit of a feedback on the skate, not like any amount that's going to be super drastic, but you do have a little textured feedback, even like the harder you press down. But the harder you press down, you don't really get a inconsistent glide at all. You get a nice smooth, well, not it's not like super smooth, like I'll show you on the RS speeds, but you get that hint of feedback. You press down a little bit if you get heavy handed in your glide or your tracking. It doesn't slow down on the glaze. This is the glaze specifically. So if you have a more controlled glass pad, it's going to slow down a little more. But for me, the glaze is still one of the fastest glass pads I've ever used. I don't know what it is with my glaze. And that's how it's been. I've tried to explain it to people, but nobody kind of wants to understand me. But it is what it is. So, little kind of glide test. It's still very, very open. It's still nice and clean and open. You just get that ever slight kind of more control to it where I don't get any of that overshoot. I have been hitting some insane flicks and my tracking has been on point. Now versus something like the RS speeds from Ultra Glide, these are much, much smoother and it makes this pad feel like an ice hockey table. Like this thing just kind of goes, right? This is kind of like the fastest experience I can think of on this pad. And I just have normal dots. I have a few on the bottom to make sure, there's no weird like um wobble, right? But these have been the fastest dots I've ever used. You can even see the slight color difference between the middle skate. So, I mean, this has been insanely fast, but with these skates, I get a little overshoot, and my tracking and flicking isn't as precise as they are on like the black skates that I've been using for a few days. So, skate wise, Pulsar has been killing it with skate choicing. Um, I just I would probably never go back to full form just because I've been in dots for years now. But overall, dot skates on hard pads feel good. Stock skates on the hard pads felt good. Even on cloth, they felt good with a slight tug to them. Didn't really bother me in game. I just don't prefer it. And yeah, this mouse is honestly, I don't think I'll be using anything different until I get the X2F. And I do have the EC3 video coming out next week. So that's all she wrote. So if you have slightly longer hands, like I said, go with the Feynman. Slightly wider hands, go for the Zywu Mini. If you have my hand size, go with the Xlite Mini. If you want a symmetrical mouse, go with the X2 Crazylight. I mean, Pulsar kills it with these shapes. And this isn't me being biased. I have genuinely almost loved every single shape. Granted, I didn't really like the X3. I wasn't a huge fan of the Zywu. I did try a tens. I did kind of like that shape as well, even though it was taller. But the sensor didn't really sensor was kind of off on mine, so I had to return it. But I mean, the shapes that Pulsar makes are insane. I love them. That's why I'll support Pulsar for as long as I game, just because I have had such good feedback in my kind of experience and shapes and sizes and how I play on Pulsar mice than any other mouse I've ever used. I started on the G502 back when I used to play Fortnite a lot years ago, even in the early days of PUBG, and I swapped to the G Pro. I don't think I'd ever go back to a larger mice or other brand because Pulsar does it for me. So, if you like this video, if you are excited for the X2F coming, I'll actually put the link in my video. If you want to purchase the Xlite, go for it. I mean, if you want to support the channel, do it. If you want to purchase the Feynman, my link it's a reference link. It's a referral link. So I mean, yes, I get commissioned, but you won't have any coupon. There is no coupon codes for Pulsar. But yeah. So Xlite, Crazylight, the best Xlite mini shape they've made, and it's going to be staying in my hand for a little bit until the X2F. I love you guys. Rise up. God bless. And we'll see you for the next one.